Welcome to Mindful Living, Learning, and Communication with Dr. Beth Eldridge. I'm here today to talk to you about self care. This is a topic that many people are aware of, and many companies are trying to respond to. But what is it that we're really, really longing for when we say that we need some self care? And what is it that will actually give us what we desire? So, as you know, there's a whole industry of buying the right foods to make you happy, of going to the spa, of taking time off, going on vacation. So, there's a certain element of self care industry, which is about escapism. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a spa day or vacation because we all love to have some of that downtime and it has a lot of benefits. Moments of escapism may not be a problem at all. They may be totally enhancing to your life. But if you really want self care, then you need to consider, first of all, what is this self? And second of all, what does it mean to care for it? So, the self in my book is our whole being. And that means our physical self, our intellectual and mental self, our emotional self, and our spiritual self, or our soul, however you might like to call it. So, if we are truly focusing on ourself, we're not privileging one of those aspects of the other. Instead, we are integrating them all together. So when you think about doing something for self care, ask yourself, am I caring for all elements of myself, my mental, my emotional, my physical, and my spiritual well being? And if not, what's missing? And what can I add to that equation to be living a more integrated and balanced life? And that also disengages us from the consumer self that the self care industry is feeding into. So maybe we don't need to spend all that money on the latest fashions, or maybe we can have a staycation that allows us to have the quality of connection with the people and the earth right around us without having to go anywhere. So then the next aspect of self-care is the care part. What does it mean to care for yourself? And I also want to bring in the definition of self that is wider and more timeless than this particular human form that we find ourselves in. So when we're doing self-care, we're not take for myself and forget about everyone else. And if we do, hopefully it's a temporary swing of the pendulum. Maybe we've been doing too much giving and we have to do a little taking to get back into balance. But true self care honors both ourselves and the others in our life and in our community. So that's where the concept of caring is not about necessarily spoiling ourselves. It is about connecting to what is really alive in us and to what we really long for at a deeper level, so that what we do fits what we really long for. So there are times when to care for ourselves, we really need connection and community and to be in touch and talking with people, or just to be sitting quietly with people, maybe to be accomplishing something together. And there are times when, for self care, we need space and distance, solitude, our own creative process, unimpeded by anyone else. So, to be aware of what we actually need for care, rather than to cover up some feeling of discomfort, we need to have a whole language of what matters to us and practices to stay in touch with what matters to us in a moment by moment basis, as well as in the bigger vision of our lives. So, the language that I use to do that is the language of nonviolent communication and the language of needs. So, when I know what my needs, or we might also call them values, are in any situation, then I know exactly where to put my energy into what I want to create. So, as I mentioned earlier, communication and connection is one of those needs. And another set of those needs are just having that spaciousness and that solitude and that self connection. And the needs are numerous. They can be anything from needs for openness and honesty, needs for play, for peace, for physical well being, for autonomy, and for meaning. Any time that we are off center, we can inquire into what needs of ours are not met and trust in the abundance of strategies that we could use to fill those needs and come to creatively decide what action we will take or what mindset we will tweak to help align ourselves with our values and what's important in that moment. And this is an incredibly powerful practice because otherwise we go around, maybe we feel tired, maybe we feel depleted, maybe we feel like something's not quite right and that we need to nurture ourselves, but we don't know what it is. And we waste so much time and energy and may even come into conflict with others because we don't know how to self connect and how to identify what is it that we need? What is it that really matters to us in that situation? So I want to invite you to consider your needs and your values next time that you are feeling a little off center and want to have some self connection and self care. And use that as a guide to how to really care for yourself in a way that honors others too, recognizing that they have needs, that they have values that are guiding them. And then we'll have true self care, independent of the industry. Now, even though I am bringing awareness that there is an industry to this, and I am in some ways a part of that, but I'm not going to sell you products that are one time fixes. Instead, I can sell you the whole system, practices, the vocabulary, so that you can gain competence over yourself and in how you want to act and show up in the world by knowing what really matters to you at any moment, finding the heart space to digest any unmet needs, and returning to the abundance of possibilities to meet your needs so that every day, every hour, you save time, you're on purpose, and you are creatively designing a world in alignment with what most matters to you and the bigger you and the bigger world that you're a part of. So if you would love to join me in this, please sign up for my coaching intake call or come to one of my workshops. I can't wait to help you find the truth of self care in your own life. Join me at mindfulnbc.com.